let's start the chapter. Hey guys, welcome back to my review of chapter 1023 of One Piece called Spitting Image. And what a good name for the chapter, especially at the end of the chapter with what they did to Momo and the possibilities that we have with that. Okay, I'll talk with the predictions later. Let's get through the chapter first. We have the cover request with Karo and the other bird and the other Karo's jealous of all the other birds around Vivi. But we start where we left off from the previous chapter with Sanji and Zoro. I want to see so much more of this fight and how it's gonna like pan out and how difficult this fight's gonna be for both Sanji and Zoro, especially from Zoro coming down to from Yonko level attack to first division commander King. Well, he doesn't fight like a typical swordsman, so we'll see how he deals with a non-swordsman foe in this case. So King looking stoic as always, like he just doesn't look phased, doesn't look hurt, doesn't look really worried or anything, except for that time where he says you shouldn't let Zoro recover, take him out now at all costs. But anyway, they're mentioning the aforementioned pain that Zoro's gonna face later, and the cause of the effect of what is going to happen after and how much pain he's going to be in, considering he already broke 37 plus bones or whatever. So I wonder how he's going to be after the fight. I hope it doesn't take like a pain or like makes him weaker towards the end of his fight. We'll see. See how that pans out with Oda. We have some gifters and people who are about to interrupt the fight, but Samurai is saying no. At all costs, they want their fair-ish 1v1. They don't want anybody to butt into this, commander level fight. And that's like it's reaching that point. They're fighting commanders. This is the Yonko crew. Like they said last chapter, they're this much closer to being, contenders. They're actual contenders for Pirate King. What's above Yonkos if they defeat Kaido here? Exactly, like they're right there. Their other enemies are basically just other Yonkos. Blackbeard would be the other, thought that is the other main threat. And then seeing how they're gonna deal with Big Mom. But trailing off in all the possibilities possible, right? We have Marco thinking of mentioning last chapter about the people that lived above the red line, and then Whitebeard mentioning, the people that lived above the red line, that was the land of the gods. And he's spaced out, and I'm guessing this also plays a role that he's tired, he's dead, he's just stamina is drained, and he's just sitting there spaced out, and Izo comes in, saves him from getting hit and attacked, and Marco's like, oh, Izo, I knew you would come in. I knew you would come through. By the way, do you believe in gods? And Izo's just like, you sound just like Pops when he was drunk. And just trailing off Izo. I love it. Then we come back into the fight with Sanji and Zoro. Immediately with Queen throwing out a bunch of lasers towards Sanji, which... honestly, there's no recharge. What's the battery source for these lasers? And I'm assuming they're going to be like Kizaru's lasers. And it's just like endless amount of lasers. So I want to know, this could be a power-up for Frankie in the future. Like, like Sanji had mentioned before. We have Sanji mentioning like, oh, my body feels weird after using the raid suit for the second time. Like, I don't know what that entails. I want to know if somebody's like figured out the messages behind this, saying, my body feels a little off. My body feels a little weird. Why is that? He also mentioned it's not a, like, good thing I read the translation for this one. He says it's not a bad weird. It's just weird. And King's mentioning something about his eyebrows, and here comes Zoro to block an attack from King, and then right back at him saying, oh, you owe me one, curly brows. He comes back and blocks an attack from Queen saying, got you right back. So they're even. I love their dynamic. I love the dynamic. I want to see them fight right next to each other, side by side. I hope they don't separate in this. I just want to see their dynamic more often, and see if they like switch back between the two. And man, that would be so good, because then it's like they're both. We don't know who's better. They're both switching between the two. But Sanji will take out Queen and Zoro will take out King, unless Oda surprises us with the reversal, like he did in one of the other chapters versus in the Arlong arc. I believe that was the one where Sanji took out the second strongest and Zoro took out the third strongest. I think that was the one. He's done this before, so I want to know if he's gonna do a replication saying Sanji takes out King. And then that would that would throw the whole community in like a fit, saying who's better. But Sanji catches on fire, right? No, well, like he catches on fire, and Queen is saying, all of Judge's kids were modified. Oh, he was such a mad scientist with that. And then Sanji says, no, I'm 100% human. This is all willpower, or like I will out fire. I don't know if that's the right like terminology. But Queen mentions, how do you do it then? You're a human. I know you're not a Lunarian. So, that's a new species. And then King looks over like, what are you saying? You shouldn't be throwing out words like that. But he didn't say anything, stoic as always. So we can put two and two together. King must be a Lunarian who can spontaneously combust fire. No. He can will fire, right? So that whole species could probably will fire. But then that also brings into question, Germa 66 was able to climb the red line, right? Was Judge able to get some DNA, some modification, or is Sanji, I can't say Sanji's mom is a Lunarian, right? Maybe he used some of the Lunarian DNA? Because if Sanji's mom was a Lunarian, then all the other kids would be able to will fire. But no, they're able to use different abilities with their raid suits. But Sanji's the only one that can will fire. And let's not forget Hell's Memories, where he literally just catches his entire body on fire, which is like how you would before the time skip, he would friction on his foot to create fire. Now he just combusts into fire. And Luffy's is different because he wills and uses his rubber fruit to friction at such a high velocity to create fire. At least I want to go with that's how he kind of does it. Let's not forget there's a lot of other people that can use fire, but Sanji's is a little different when he uses Hell's Memories when he used it in the post time skip. So after that whole like debacle and rant on fire, we cut to Zoro versus King. And just King in this is just giving me huge Katakuri vibes. Like his size, his stature, the length of his limbs, his like clothes. It's just, I want to see more of this fight. I want to see him go hybrid too. But he uses this weird sword that catches Zoro's swords and he flings his swords off. And he's a left-handed swordsman. Well, he's not a swordsman, but he wields his sword on the left hand. So he blocks, he throws it out, and then he uses his, I want to assume, dominant hand here and throws a punch at Zoro's face, which he blocks with his third sword. How handy, right? But he's saying you're just like a mindless killer. You have no sense of, style. And he says, do you need a style to fight? And Zoro says, fair enough. You never said you were a swordsman. And to be fair, I will do anything to win this fight. I could claw at your throat just to win this fight. Freaking Zoro's a badass. I love it. I can't wait to see more of this fight. We cut to exposition now from, I forgot his name, Kappa and Hyogoro. Let's go with that. And they're mentioning, like Kappa saying, I couldn't stop Hiyori from giving him the sword. He just looks so much like the daimyo of Ringo, Shimotsuki Ushimaru. And we know that Zoro can be a possible descendant of him because that ship sailed off from Wano, and it's confirmed that he's from, well, he could be from that ship, and he learned the three sword style from somebody, and he has the same sword style as him. And that person, the daimyo of Ringo, was a descendant of Ryuma, the god of the blade. And as we know, Ryoma, and we find out here, Ryoma was also a one-eyed swordsman. And this Zoro character brought Shisui back. And then he says, this word that the community just loves, it must be fate. I guess. I mean, I don't know. I'm indifferent to the word. It's just Wano is much more like traditional. Traditional? Just older Japan, so they're like, they thought Kaido was a god, so they're kind of like, what's the word? They're more superstitious, right? Let's go with that. Next, we have the fight with Inugarashi and Nekomamushi, respectively. So Ino is fighting Jack, which I'm pretty hyped for this fight because they're both taking on a commander, I guess, because Perospero was a commander before. He's taking on Jack. Ino is taking on Jack, and he's telling Jack, I couldn't have shown my face in Wano to respect of Lord Odin if I went against his word and we gave in where Raizo was. And we cut to a moment where Ino is saying just, kill me now if I'm lying. Raizo, I know no man named Raizo, which is just respectable. I love these two, man. They're so like strong in their Sulong form, and he just throws Jack across his shoulder off like the building, and he catches a smidge of sunlight, and we get Sulong form Inugarashi, and this man is about to destroy Jack, because I'm pretty sure they were like toying with Jack when they both turned Sulong versus Jack and got their revenge. And Jack looks like he's sweating. He's not ready. And then we cut to Nekomamushi, who also got a glimpse of the moon, fighting Perospero. And Perospero has gone through a lot of crap, and he looks like he's sweating. And I'm so ready for this beatdown that Perospero is about to get. Like, I cannot fathom Perospero doing well against Nekomamushi. I just don't see it. Especially because he's fallen from, being a commander. He's still strong, I want to say that. He's probably the same level as Jack. But he did lose his commander title, or Sui commander title. Next, we get the little snippets of Raizo versus, oh my god, his name, Furokushu. Always mess it up, man. But he's mentioning that Furokushu is mentioning, how can you listen to a kid? And Raizo saying, he will grow into the future. We will watch his growth, okay? To everybody's surprise in the next few panels. First of all, how do you miss that the person right there is Momo, right? Like, Kaido did not just pop up, but we know from this panel, that the next panel is a full-grown dragon, because they're saying it's Kaido's dragon form. And I love this image, man. This page spread of Luffy standing before a dragon, and we know it's a pink dragon, and it looks, I want to say it looks a little different than Kaido, but it looks 100% eerily similar to Kaido. It's the same double fruit, and it's Momo as a full-grown dragon, and it's just so epic looking, because the way the dragon twirls, and Luffy with his with his coat over his shoulders. Just, I love that design for him. I love it. And he's just right there asking, are you ready to take Wano back? Shinobu's crying there in the corner, and she's saying, "My lord, you look just like," and of course he looks just like Odin, right? Not just like. That's why the image is the title is called Spitting Image, because he looks so similar to his father, but he's of course gonna look a little different. He's gonna look well, he would have his own features, but I can't wait to see what he looks like. I can't wait to see how he's gonna fight, who he's gonna fight even. It would be very ironic if he doesn't actually hold up. Okay, that's the end of the chapter, right? Let's jump to predictions real quick, because I wanted to say he's gonna be the one that holds up the island. Now that we know he's a full-grown dragon, he can be the one. You know, everyone wants to assume it's gonna be 100% reflection of his father holding up the scabbards, but his role in this fight is gonna be when Kaido drops the island. He's gonna hold up the island in resemblance to his father holding up the scabbards. That's a beautiful representation and iconic view. But it seems a little too easy to guess. It would be a beautiful... It seems very beautiful. Like the thought of that happening. But I feel like maybe not. That's too easy. Oda would want to flip it over. I want to say somebody else holds up the island. Law? I was saying before, my theory is Caribou's gonna swallow up the island. Maybe somebody holding it up temporarily, maybe even Momo, but he can't hold it up for long, right? He's not used to the power. Caribou could swallow up the island. I'm gonna go with that take. Anyway, he could fight Orochi. He's the one that could end Orochi. And then Orochi, that could be another possibility. Orochi says, it's Odin, he's alive. But it's Momo. He looks identical, right? That could be another possibility. There's so many good things that can happen from this. But anime logic tells me he's going to be very strong with zero training. Just aging is going to make him strong. I don't know. It's not like Hunter x Hunter where you give up years of your life and you give up something and you get strength. It's not like he could just give up years of his life and gain experience fighting, right? But maybe he's strong. Anime logic tells me he could possibly be strong, or he pops Conqueror's Haki, which could be a possibility at the very least. But that's it for me, guys. Next chapter doesn't seem to be a break next week. I hope we see more of that commander fight. Things are really ramping up. I hope we get to see how Yamato is. Luffy getting to the rooftop. It looks like Momo has no problem controlling the devil fruit right now. I can't wait to see what happens next. It was a good chapter for me. That's it for me, guys. Please leave a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you for the next chapter.